Hey, welcome back to Turntable Guy. On the bench today, we have another brand I haven't done on the channel yet. This one's got a lot of controls on the front end here. It's a Sansui P-D20. It's a direct drive. Kind of interesting looking, kind of a very 80s tech look to it. Never seen this before. It's got a H and an L here. H, I guess, being high speed, and L being low speed for 33, high speed for 45. It's got a standard cut button and a power on switch. It's a servo controlled motor. I'm not sure if it's a full auto. I think it's a semi-auto because there's no start button. Yeah, it's got all the makings of a high-tech 80s deck. The complaint on this one is that the needle was just scratching across the record when it was dropped, so I kind of figured that it probably needed a stylus or some kind of adjustment. But yeah, this old, it looks like an Empire. Yeah, it is an old Empire. That's probably seen better days. There's not a lot of stylus left on this at all, so that's probably why it's skating across the record. These are getting harder and harder to find stylus for. I know that Jico makes them, but they're very expensive. But they are good sounding, but I'm not sure exactly. This says it's an LTD 450 cartridge by Empire. It's got the original stylus on it. But we're going to replace that. The gentleman has already gone out and purchased the very popular Audio-Technica AT-VM95 series. This is the C model, which is the entry-level model, and has a conical bonded stylus. But great performance for the money. This stylus goes for this cartridge, goes for about $49.99. That is great value for the money because all these cartridges are identical as far as body's concerned. All you need to do is update the stylus assembly, and then you can go all the way up to the VM95 SH, which is the Shibata model, or the ML, which is the micro line. But this is the entry level. This is what we're going to be installing on this table. But before we actually install the cartridge, we will give this table a service. It's never been serviced. Pretty thin platter mat. And I just want to see if the auto return works. That it does. So that's good. It looks like our queuing works well. Yep, that's good. Feels like the arm is aluminum, but the body's mostly plastic. Let's see what's underneath here. Just your classic aluminum, very thin platter. And your standard auto return mechanism, which seems to be working well. The motor itself feels okay. Don't feel anything tight in there. So that's good. Pretty sure this one probably... Yeah, this one's got just your standard base, cardboard base. So I'm just going to put the dust cover back on and we'll begin. Yeah, this table's definitely from an era when we started to see a lot more plasticization of turntables. And let me guess, 45. Yeah, you know, a lot more of the plasticization of tables, and just an overall cheapness of the product, right? I mean, they weren't going to build tables out of solid metal anymore. But anyway, this table gives me an opportunity to use my new tool. I was out at IKEA yesterday, and I decided to buy myself a cordless screwdriver. This is not a drill, so this thing spins at a pretty low RPM. Doesn't have a ton of torque, but it's great for removing screws and not having to twist your arm off sometimes. Came with a, oops, sorry about that. Came with a set of different bits here. And the awesome part was it was only $15. It's got a lithium-ion battery in it, so hopefully it lasts a little bit. And yeah, what do we got here? Lithium-ion screwdriver, 3.6 volt. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that for 15 bucks. Even if it breaks after a year, you know, you can buy another one. And let's see here. Standard Phillips. Let's just see how it works for a few screws, and then we'll pause because I know it's, even though it's electronic, it's still really boring. So you push down to tighten, push up to loosen. Let's see how much torque this thing actually has. Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, the speed's not like super fast, so you don't have to worry about cranking the screw right in or out. So comes with a charger, and it's definitely better than twisting them off by hand, I gotta say. This did not come with it. This is just an extension that just came with one of my other sets. Well, there you go. We got to unscrew them all together. As you can see here, this thing's got extremely cheap feet. Like just pieces of crap rubber pressed through the cardboard. So this is as junky as it gets, as far as that's concerned. This table's pretty plasticky and junky, I'll be honest with you. Knowing how Sansui people are very proud of you know, their amplifiers and electronics from the 70s. This thing is definitely a product of later 80s cutbacks, very cheaply built. Okay, so we're presented with very little on the inside. Here is our auto return mechanism. There's not a lot to that either. This is a board which controls all those electronic gizmos on the front, so the speed section. So there's going to be nothing here to adjust or anything. There's no pitch controls. These are our fine speed controls here, so we'll test speed and then we'll adjust these as necessary. Power supply is over here. Power switch is here. And the motor is under here. So in order to service this motor, we're going to have to release these 3 screws here. One is a ground. Let's try our new screwdriver. As you can tell, I am having fun using it. Yeah, that's pretty good. Just enough torque just to get the job done, you know. I haven't charged it yet. It came charged in the package, so we'll see how long it lasts. So this is a ground here. So we're just going to lift this up. No, we're not going to lift this up because this is attached here. We need to cut that. Easier said than done. There we go. Not sure why that's attached there, and why it's not just down here with the rest of the wires, but I will try to remember to put that back. And here we go. Here's our very small motor. And You guys know how this is done. Basically grab and pull. And yeah. Is there a ball bearing in there? There's a grease on this one. An actual grease. You can see it there. That is grease, like viscous grease. Oh yeah, look at that. So the question then becomes, what do you want to replace this grease with? Because I'm definitely going to get it out. And I'm thinking, since it's a grease and it's fairly viscous, I'm going to go with a thicker oil. Maybe something like what we use in Rigas and turntables like that. Oh yeah, look at that, eh? So we'll go with like a transmission fluid, not transmission fluid, differential fluid oil, a 75 W90, I think it is. So we're just gonna clean that off. Very, very thick oil. It's not sticky though, so it was probably good quality, but I'm changing it out. You know, it's going to be 40 years old. Change out your bearing oil. You know, you're doing yourself a favor. The SL23 by Techniques also uses that kind of lubricant in the bearing. Just clean that off nicely. And then this is going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of thick, gross grease there. Start off just by, let me zoom in a little bit here for you guys. Start off by removing what's already leaked out. Yeah, look at that, eh? Wow. I don't think I've ever, there's almost nothing in the pit. It's all out. So I'm not sure how much lubricating it was doing. Because if I go in here, there's almost nothing. It's all, seems like it's all leaked out around the side of it. So we're going to hit that with some alcohol for sure. Pardon my reach. Clean that all out. You see that in there? Yeah, so we'll fill that up with a nice thick oil. One more for good measure here. Okay, that's good. All right, here's our gear oil, and we're just gonna pop some of that in there. This stuff is so thick it almost does not want to come out of the little syringe at the end. Couple drops here. Let's see how it likes to go back. I think we can put some more in there. Oh, wait a sec here. Is it leaking out the bottom? Oh, there's a hole. Oh, for Christ's sakes. Well, that's new. There is a tiny hole right here. Obviously to relieve pressure from the grease. Look, there's all the oil I just put in there. Yeah, I'm going to plug that hole, and I'm going to do this over again. I'm probably going to put some crazy glue or something like that on there with a little bit, I don't know, fill that with something. And I'll be right back. Maybe, you know what I might do? I might get a little bit of silicone. Just put a dab of silicone in there, let that dry up, and then we'll redo our oil here, which is all over that. So that's the first time I've seen that. Something new for everybody. I guess we don't need to clean that again. I'm going to clean up this mess here, and then let me fill that hole. I'll be right back. All right, so what I've done here is I have put a dab of hot glue here. That's going to plug up that hole. I made sure it went through just a little bit. So now we can go back to putting our oil in here, and hopefully it's not going to come flying out this time. Seemed to go in a little too easy last time, and now we know why. That's better. So now it's fighting me, which is what I want to see, right? And there we go. That's much better. And we have no leakage on the back side. So just a bit of hot glue there. That plugged up that hole a little bit. Now we've got a nicely lubricated bearing, and we can put this back where it belongs, which is right here. And if you remember, a couple things here. We got a ground screw. I'm liking my screwdriver. And we also had this wire, which was up here for some reason. So we're going to recreate that. Got myself a cable tie here. So we'll just cable tie this back up where it belongs. Again, I have no idea why the factory had this cable up here, but it must have been for some reason. Maybe it wants it away from these cables. I don't know, because they run through the same spot here, but we'll just do that. Put it back the way it was, and there we go. All right. Other than that, there's not a whole lot else to do here. I might give it a drop of oil on the sliding mechanism here. And there's a little ball bearing here for the auto return. We don't want to goop that up with oil. I think we can put the rear cover back on and go up to the top and install our cartridge. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with the screw installation, so I'll be right back. Welcome back. The table's back together. Put our platter on and see how we're spinning. Zoom up just a little bit here. Oh, maybe check speed as well. All right, so semi-auto. Oh, this one's got a power switch. There we go. Of course, it's going to auto return. Let's see here. Yeah, 33 looks really good. And this is 45 here. 45 looks fantastic as well. So they're both spinning really nicely. You guys want to see what this looks like in the front end here? It's got an interesting look to it. Let's see that. Are these lit? Yeah, this is all kind of glowy here. I don't know if that matters or not. Oh, cool. It says locked, servo lock. Nice. If you want to go back to 33, push that one. Yeah, it's hard to see it on with all these lights here on the bench, but this is kind of glowing into this plastic. That needs a nice cleanup, but yeah, that's working good. So it's spinning nice. So let's see. Let's cut. Yeah, working good. All right, so let's replace that cartridge together, and we'll do a sound test. You just want to unscrew this knob here, and you're going to get your cartridge. Even though this has a bit of a nasty needle, we'll take that off. That way, it's still, you still don't want to damage it, right? So, I did check the Sansui service manual on this, and what we need to do is obviously remove this cartridge, which is on crooked, and put the new one on, and then we're going to set, like in the Techniques head shell here, here's the Techniques head shell, the distance between the tip of the stylus to this gasket here is 52 millimeters. Well, it's a little bit harder to do on one like this, where the actual head shell is on an angle. But same thing, once you get the needle in there, you're going to measure from the needle point to this point, and on the Sansui, it's 41 millimeters. So, first thing we want to do is we want to grab ourselves some good pliers and just pull your wires. You just want to give them a little twist while you're doing that. Sorry if this is going out of focus. And then you're going to have some screws. This one have a nut. This one does not have a nut. There must be a nut built into the cartridge. And then you just want to take these off. These feel like plastic screws. What I do with these old cartridges is I always return them to the owner, but I'd say about 90% of the time they're like, I don't want that. So I hang on to them, and sometimes I can get, a stylus for them occasionally. And if there is a decent quality aftermarket one, somebody's looking for, look at that, Empire made in the USA. If someone's looking for a cartridge, sometimes if I've got a working cartridge, then I can let it go for a really cheap price, and then get into a cartridge with a new stylus for a little money. All right, so here's our brand new AT VM95C. It's nice to crack open a nice new cartridge. There we go. And your instructions, your warranty, instruction manual for installation, and then our actual cartridge is right here. Focus. and some mounting hardware. Again, what's really nice about the VM95 series is you don't need nuts because they have threaded inserts right here. So I don't think we'll need some very thick screws. We'll just use the smaller ones here. Let's see if I can zoom in. Way in, so right about here, right? Okay, so we'll get a couple of smaller nuts. Sorry, smaller screws. I guess technically they're bolts, are they not? And what we'll do is we will remove the stylus for safekeeping. And we will mount our cartridge. So just line up the holes, put your screw in. Butterfingers today. Okay, that's one. This is two. Now you see when I talk about the benefits of the T4P P-mount system, right? Because you're not doing any of this stuff. All you did was plug the cartridge in, and then away you went. So I'm just going to snug this up just a tiny bit here, right against the far end of the cartridge, or the head shell holes here, head shell holes, and then we'll attach our wires. And it'll go left, right, positive, negative. So I usually do the farthest and hardest one first, which is usually red. And then I'll do the white. I'll pull these blue and greens kind of out of the way. Get our white one in. We'll do our green. And our blue. Just like that. Okay. So we'll reattach our stylus. Now, you have to be careful with this part. You do not want to touch the stylus in any way. So I'm going to do a little bit of measuring here. Right there. So we need 41 millimeters from there to there, straight line, right? And that is as far out as it goes, and I'm only showing 38. So I'm just going to have a quick peek at the manual again and make sure that's 41 because I can't adjust this for any further out. So give me 1 sec, I'll be right back. So I have rechecked the manual and it definitely is 41 millimeters. So that's a little perplexing considering that I can't stretch this out any further. I'm right at the end. so I can't go any further. I'm just going to do a quick alignment check with just a protractor. See if it's at least square. Insert that there. Oh, I guess we'll have to unplug it because it's got a power switch. Okay. Let me see what I have here for a protractor. Something simple. Call a stupid protractor. I'm going to check one more. Okay, welcome back. I've pulled out my bare welt. Let me zoom out a little bit here. And got a good alignment. I've been working on this for a little bit here. I'm not pleased with the fact that this thing's pushed up all the way and it's off by 3 or 4 millimeters from what Sansui is recommending. So I'm going to go with an aftermarket alignment protractor here. And if you can see that, we're lining up on the outside grid nicely. And then when I move it to the inside grid, we're also lined up nicely. And that results in a little bit of a cockeyed cartridge in the head shell, but that is perfectly fine. According to this protractor, we should be minimizing distortion throughout the record. So that is tightened up, and actually let me give it just another little squeeze here. There. That's tightened up and good. Let's set our tracking force. Do it digitally. And you can set your VM95C to 2 grams. And we're 1.7 right now. Let's go a little heavier. It's pretty close. There we go, 2 grams. We do not have to set up anti-skating because it's automatic on this one. There's a little, I'll show you the piece. This is a anti-skating weight here, and it just sits in a slot, and as the arm moves, it pushes on this and provides the appropriate amount of anti-skating. So it's all done automatically, which is kind of nice. So we'll set our dial here at the 2 gram mark. That way the person knows how much tracking force they got. And I believe we can test this. All right, let me just hook up our audio cables. This one does have a ground. And we can put on our sound effect disc. All right. Let's see what we got here. Power on. Probably auto return. Okay, here we go. Sound effects all sound the same. That's blood curdling. All right, let's check our auto return. Very nice. Excellent. Well, I'm going to say this right now. I'm actually kind of impressed by this table. Just it's very seems to be working great. So that must mean it has a certain amount of reliability built into it. The functions are all smooth. There's very little to it. So other than it being a little plasticky, I was looking at the reviews on Vinyl Engine, and everybody seems to think it's a pretty decent table. So it's not too bad. And I kind of like the looks. I like the way it glows on the front here. I know it's hard to see on camera, but you know, you got the 45 and 33 here. It's kind of nice. You push the button on the front. So yeah, I've never worked on one of these before, so I'm a little impressed. You know, it's nothing to write home about, but this seems like a nice solid turntable. So anyway, if you have one of these, that's how you service it. And you got to remember that if you're removing that grease in the main bearing for the spindle here, there's a tiny little, I guess you could call it like a pressure release hole. And if you're going to change out the grease and put in an oil, you're going to need to seal that oil, so seal the hole so the oil doesn't leak out the bottom like it did for me. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you again for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this one, and we will catch you in the next video. Bye.